And welcome in to the NBN Playoff Podcast Preview. I'm your host, K-Man. With me here today are a bunch of Eastern Conference people to shit on the Western Conference. Sound off, people. By sounding off, I did not say keep typing.
What's going on, guys? Superstar GM of the Charlotte Hornets here, Johnny.
What's up? Owner of the Boston Celtics, BJ Bren. Excited to be here today.
Hello.
And this is Pacers owner, Kid Monotone.
And hi, I'm Killer Dog 7.
And last but not least, I'm K-Man. I'm owner / head coach of the 76ers. All right, so how we're going to do this is I got a timer here. We're going to put 6 minutes on the clock. We're going to go over each series. At the end of the 6 minutes, I'm going to then put a 1 minute timer where each person is going to give their final predictions. Does that sound good for everyone?
Yep. Sounds good.
Yep.
All right. 6 minutes on the clock. We're going to start with the Bucks and the Hawks. What are your guys' thoughts on the Bucks and the Hawks?
I'll go first on this one. I'd be very surprised if this isn't kind of dominated by the Bucks. I would assume they game plan for Kyrie. Who knows? They might not. But Kyrie is really their only chance at probably stealing a couple games off of Milwaukee. So other than that, I don't know. This seems like a pretty clean sweep in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. Definitely the Bucks are the favorite in the Eastern Conference. I think they're the team that scares the most people. I think maybe Kyrie could just single-handedly snag like one game at home for Atlanta. But other than that, I see this being pretty straightforward. I'd just like to say, if you want to tune in Monday, Matt and I will be commentating Game 1 of Bucks Hawks. So tune in for that. We'll have a special guest, Dangle, as a mid-game interview. So
very smooth self-promotion there.
Yep. Those will be very many of those today.
Well, personally, I think I have the Bucks taking 6 games to win this one. I do think the Hawks have a good roster. I feel like they underperformed a little bit. And just between Kyrie and Sabonis and Brogdon, and I believe Draymond's on there, that's a good roster. And I think that some of the Bucks, maybe not weaknesses, but not exactly strengths of theirs, such as Trae Young's defense. And their center, I believe, is DeAndre Jordan. Maybe not their best starter by any stretch. I think those could be exploited by a team like the Hawks. I think Kyrie Irving, if I'm not mistaken, is the league leading scorer. So I like him to pull out at least 1 or 2 victories for the Hawks in this series.
I see the Bucks dominating this whole series. The Hawks have no one to guard Giannis, and this already happened last year. The Bucks are going to sweep them.
Yeah, that's basically how I see it. I think each game will be competitive. I think maybe one chance Milwaukee will have at a blowout, maybe pushed up to 20, 30 points, but each game, I think really the first couple of games will be a little bit tight between 5 and 15 points, especially with Kyrie Irving. You never know what he can do. I don't think Trae Young will have the ability to defend him. I think he's going to get absolutely torched, and especially Kyrie's got to play. And Atlanta doesn't have a really awful roster. They have a roster that can compete and play in games and stay in it. So I think that they have a chance to steal a 5th game, steal 1, maybe 2 if they get really caught on fire and if the Bucks get complacent. But I just don't see that happening, honestly, considering how good they've been all season. I mean, especially in stream, they've just been dominant.
Well, I'd assume that they're going to be putting Trae Young on the least the worst scorer on the Hawks. I don't know who do you think they're gonna have guarding Kyrie?
Definitely
Middleton, probably.
Yeah.
Really? You think You really think that
'Cause they start Young, Middleton, Hayward, Giannis, and Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
So you would put, if they're gonna, let's say they start. That's actually one good question. Which of the would they start? Kyrie Irving and Malcolm Brogdon. So you'd put.
I'd put Trae Young on Brogdon.
Oh, okay. That's a good. Yeah. So that's one area they could probably exploit. Obviously, it'd be better if they. I don't see why. I don't see any reason why the Hawks would start Gary Harris, despite being a max player right now.
I think they have been starting him at the 3 though. I don't know if they still do.
Oh, that would be.
At one point they did. I think they switched it. I think they switched it though.
That would work against the Bucks.
I think they start Powell now.
So then let's flip it. What do you think the Hawks do defensively to try and stop the Bucks?
I think the only thing here is you have to just hope Draymond can slow down.
Draymond on Giannis.
Draymond's slowing down Giannis, and you have to hope that Brogdon can slow down Trae. So you're kind of almost hoping that, in a way, if you can slow those two guys down, then you're just hoping that Middleton and Hayward don't go off on you.
All right. Any other words? Prediction time. Oh, BJ, sorry if you had anything else.
No, I was gonna say my prediction. I have Bucks in 5. I think Atlanta will steal one game at home, probably when it's already 3-0. Maybe the Bucks will rest. Who knows? And so I'm going Bucks in 5.
Bucks are known for their very liberal resting.
I would say Bucks at 5 too. I think Atlanta snatches a game off of a really good Kyrie performance.
I'm gonna say give me a couple games for the Bucks. Couple games for the Hawks. Bucks in 6.
I'm going Bucks in 4. They're gonna win every game by at least 20.
Big call there. I think I have to basically get close to agree with that. It's going to be in 4. I think it's going to be in 4. That's what I wrote in the predictions. We're going to do 4. All right, that's the timer there. We're going to move on to the next round. Or move on to the same bracket, 4 versus 5 matchup. Hornets versus the Heat. The clock starts now.
Man, I'm gonna go last on this one because I'm not trying to obliterate Miami, so I'll let you guys talk first.
All right, I'll start. All right, so I think this is gonna be the best series out of any of the series. I think this has the best chance to go 7 games. It's as we saw just a couple days ago with the Hornets Heat stream. That game was awesome. There was not much defense being played, but the game was awesome. James Harden scored like 50. I don't even know how much he did.
Yeah, I think he did get above 50. Yeah.
So and the Hornets have quite a few threats on the offensive end as well. So I think it'll be definitely a matchup game to see how well Jimmy Butler can stop Harden and how well he can defend Butler. Because how many Butler scored? Butler scored a ton too.
He got 45 in that game.
Yeah. So it's all about defending the superstars because the superstars tend to go off on stream quite a bit more than they do in sim games.
And especially considering how many more minutes these star players are going to be playing in the playoffs. People are going to be much more willing to push their star players to 36, 38, 40, 42 minutes, basically. So it's going to be a lot more pressure on them also.
Yeah, I got Miami in 6. I think it's going to be the closest series out of probably any first round.
Hey, balls.
Go either way. What's up?
What up?
We have Ball Lives Matter joining us. Owners, just owner of the New York Knicks, or do you do the sheets also?
What's up?
Do you also do the sheets for the New York Knicks?
Yeah.
Are you the coach? Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I'd say I'm owner coach too. I guess then.
He fired Kamal, so he's a full coach of the Knicks.
I'm going to start the timer again. Any other words on the? Who else wants to jump in on the Hornets?
Go ahead, Killer.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really good series. I think it's going to come down to whichever, either Butler or Harden, whoever comes up clutch in the last minute of the games.
I like the Hornets in this one. I do think it'll be a close competitive series, but I think the Hornets are one of the most balanced starting lineups in the league. Not to take anything away from Markkanen and Jamal Murray, but I think compared to the Heat roster, it's a much more balanced team. Obviously, they have Jimmy Butler, but I think beyond that, just Fox, Adams, all those other guys. It's a team that can hang with just about anybody, and I think they will survive at least one series in this playoffs.
I think that you pointed out one thing that I have issues actually with in regards to the Hornets is that they have a very strong starting lineup. However, I'm just not having any confidence in the backup unit. There isn't as much depth, and although Miami doesn't quite have nearly as much depth as you would hope from a team that claims to be a contender, claims to be a team that can fight for Eastern Conference Finals or Conference Finals and further possibly. I think that compared to the Hornets, depth-wise, the Heat have a bit of just a slightly deeper roster. They can at least go to 7, 8 players that can find their points. In Monte Morris, they bring off the bench. Trevor Reeves can hit a corner shot. At least Danny Green can also as well. Whereas with the Hornets, I just don't see as many points.
Yeah, Brook Lopez off the bench too.
Oh, Brook Lopez,
center position.
Really good defensively. Derek Jones,
who can bomb it from deep.
Yeah, they have a 10-man roster. 8 of those probably can find their own point, and the 9 and 10 guys can just be out there basically. I don't see that though. Level of depth with the Charlotte Hornets. To me, it looks more like an 8-man roster, 6 of which maybe can score.
I think you look at their bench, it's, who is it? Mason Plumlee, Aaron Holiday, who I really like, James Ennis, Royce O'Neal, Doug McDermott, Jake Layman. I don't even know of those guys who's going to get minutes in the playoffs, but I think of that mix, maybe it's not the best bench. It's not the Sixers bench, but I think it's a competent bench.
Yeah, I think the key is going to be whoever wins the De'Aaron Fox and Jamal Murray matchup. I think whoever wins that then kind of takes a little bit edge on that because Fox is going to have to come up huge, I think.
I think Fox is going to dominate that. I think if anything, if Murray can make that a wash, that really puts Heat in the driver's seat. Because I don't see Jimmy Butler being able to put up 30 points, which is what Harden is going to do at a low end. Even if you control him, he's going to put up 25 points at minimum on bad shooting. Medium shooting, 30, 35. Good game, you're going to look at 40 points from James Harden. And I don't think you're going to get those similar numbers from Jimmy. So they got to find points elsewhere.
Prediction time?
Any final words? All right, prediction time. Guys, sound off.
Hornets in 5, but I'm biased, so.
Thank you, Johnny.
I've got the Heat in 7. I think it's gonna go 7. And, I picked the Heat. I mean, I'm back and forth on this one. I may change my picks before the playoffs start here because this is tough. But I'm going Heat in 7.
I'm confident in Charlotte. I'm gonna go Hornets in 6.
I'm gonna go Hornets in 7.
I have Miami in 6. If it goes 7, though, Charlotte.
All right, final prediction. I'm gonna go with Miami in 6. I just don't see that. I think the depth will be an issue for the Hornets. All right, now we're gonna move.
All right, advertisement number 2.
Advertisement. All right.
Tune into the Hornets Heat on Saturday, Game 1, between 4:30 and 7:30 p.m. Listen to Mike Parrott, K-Man, and Dangle commentating the game with Johnny as an mid-game interview. Thank you.
This ad break brought to you by Synthetics. We'll put a vagina on anything.
He said it.
All right, so back from the ad break, we're going to be talking about now the 3-6 matchup. the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Boston Celtics. This is all Eastern Conference first off. We're going to do the Western Conference second because you guys are later anyway.
None of you even bothered to show up anyways. So
Exactly. All right, timer starts now. Let's go.
I'll go first on this one. Boston's roster is very weird, and they're starting Alonzo Trier and Terry Rozier in some games. So
Never started Alonzo Trier.
I thought I saw he was starting against Miami or whatever, but whoever
fake news.
Miles Bridges or whoever starts, right? I think the biggest problem for Boston is they don't have a solid LeBron stopper.
Well, I'm pretty high on the Cavaliers. I actually think they have, win the whole Eastern Conference kind of potential, kind of upside. But I just like, as far as what you look for on a team that does well on streams, well, they have a solid guy inside. They have LeBron James, that superstar, obviously. They have guys who can shoot the ball. It's not a strength necessarily as a whole, but obviously Buddy Hield, Kyle Korver, they're shooting just about any time, no matter who's on the court for them. So I think that even if LeBron has an off game, you go to Oladipo, you go to Hield, you go to Gobert. One way or another, this team is going to not struggle to find points. And I think they just have all kinds of firepower on the perimeter that Boston just can't really keep up with.
Yeah, I agree with that. I see Boston's going to need a big performance from someone else besides Tobias Harris and Drummond, and I don't know if anyone can consistently do that for them over a span of 4 or 5 games.
Well, I guess I'll comment. I guess if someone else wants to talk. I personally hope we can just get it to like maybe 6 or 7 games. I'm not confident in that at all, but no, we're gonna try everything we can over the next few days to build up a good game plan, and we'll make it as competitive as we possibly can, and that's all we can ask for. Just a good series.
Yeah, I think that you brought up one of the things that someone else brought up here earlier. How will the Boston Celtics defend LeBron James? There's gonna be a lot of pressure because it looks like Miles Bridges might be that guy. It might be really Miles Bridges. He really played well in Boston's last stream offensively, especially in the first half. There's a lot of pressure on the young kid, and I think that another player that's gonna be really important especially for on Cleveland's side, Victor Oladipo. Obviously, we've seen his overall drop dramatically over the season, especially in these last couple of weeks. Cleveland in general has been dealt with a lot of overall update changes and update drops, more so than some of the other teams have noticed. Taurean Prince, Andre Iguodala, Thaddeus Young, Victor Oladipo, even a slight drop to Rudy Gobert. Each of these, they've had a lot of drops in their overalls. Do you think that this will be an issue for them, or do you think that the initial high overalls that these players had, meaning they had good tendencies, meaning they had good badges, do you think that will override them having maybe lowered updates now?
I would just say that I don't know if it'll affect Cleveland in the first round, but I don't think this is the same Cleveland team we saw last year where they were loaded depth-wise. And so
I don't know. In the second round.
Yeah, and still lost in the second round. And so their depth is better their depth was better last year. And so I'm not sure when it'll affect them, but I could see it becoming a problem in the second round for them.
I think that as I'm going to try and be unbiased here, I think that does have to deal with the fact that they played against Philadelphia last year. Philadelphia is one of the most deep teams in the league in terms of 1 through 10 at least. That definitely was something that last year was a difficulty for us last year to match up with. We felt that we came away we were pretty excited coming away from that with a win, to be honest. Like, that was a very tough matchup. We didn't expect to finish it in 6 games.
I'd like to get Killer's thoughts on this series.
Good luck to you, BJ.
Good.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I agree with K-Man's point. It'll be interesting to see how Oladipo does this year in the playoffs. I think he's like an 85 now.
Lower. I think he's dropped. I think he's like down to 82 now.
83.
83. Okay.
83.
Yep.
Yeah. Cleveland's used to having, at least in playoff series, right? The standard was Depot being like an 87, 88. It'll be interesting.
87 last year.
Yeah. I think Buddy's gonna have to pick up a lot of slack on these streams for offensively to make up. I think Victor's still a good like 3-and-D at the worst, but it'll be interesting to see how they fare against some of these teams like Philly and Milwaukee later on.
All right, prediction time, boys. Sound off. What's your predictions for this series?
Well, I
Cleveland.
got.
Are you?
Sorry, I got Cleveland in 5. Not much drama here.
Yeah, I agree. Cleveland in 5 for me.
It'll probably be Cleveland in 5. I put in 6, hopefully. I don't know.
I got Cleveland in 4.
Please, God, no. At least one game.
You couldn't even give him the gentleman's sweep, man. Like, that's pretty disrespectful.
Nah, not happening.
I think I'm the only one who gave Boston a chance here. I gave you a good chance. I think this goes 7, actually. I really somehow think that Drummond will be better than Rudy Gobert.
I don't think that's surprising, actually, in my opinion. But
On stream, he's definitely better than
yeah.
What about LeBron? Is Tobias Harris going to be better than LeBron, or are we just going to sweep that guy under the rug?
I
Sweep
think
it under the rug.
I think Bridges is on. Bridges
Dude,
is on the ball.
have you seen Miles Bridges' defensive ratings? He ain't guarding LeBron, dude.
Oh,
Well,
he's
I hope
not.
Tobias
He's not.
isn't.
I haven't seen his numbers actually at all. So,
Dude, he's like the worst defender on my team, dude. Yeah. I won't reveal much else, but yeah, Miles Bridges will not be guarding LeBron.
damn, that's gonna be. Oh well, that makes it rougher for you then. I mean, considering, Cleveland's gonna be starting Thad Young at the 4 probably.
Guys, he's bringing out 2 years away from being 2 years away. Bruno Caboclo running KD.
Yep, that's exactly what's gonna happen.
He thought you guys would have missed him, but he's down there on the roster.
Damn, you really caught me.
All right, I think it's time for me to give out the best series, obviously in the Eastern Conference. Philadelphia versus the New York Knicks. 6 minutes are on the clock. Go at it, boys.
Wait, I forgot my advertisement. Celtics Cavs first game on Saturday. Kid and Matt commentating.
There's an ad break every 2 series. God damn it, BJ. All right, the timer starts now. I'm filling up my line.
Man, I want to hear from Ball first. Let's hear what he has to say.
No, I'll leave it to you guys. I'll go in. I'll chime in at the end.
All right. Very humble man over there. I'll be honest with you. I have a hate boner for Philly, so take my words with like heed. I think Philly wins this in 6, maybe 7 if something crazy happens. I think maybe that New York's depth will help them steal a couple games here. However, I think you could throw a wrench in there and like Simmons is guarding Lillard, and I don't know how that's going to react on stream. And so this could be a really quick series, but I'm kind of confident in New York to make it a good series and maybe go to 6 or 7.
Yeah, I definitely say New York's a bit underrated. I mean, just because of the regular season they had. they definitely underperformed from at least my expectations. I figured they'd be a 4 or 5 seed coming in. They're a 7 seed, but I mean, they've got Lillard and CJ and SGA, and they got a bunch of good pieces. They got a bunch of young guys, so it'll be interesting to see how they. Why is Kyle adding me in the podcast channel? Anyways, he wanted to be on. I didn't know that.
Too late. You don't get to jerk off OKC.
All right. I lost my train of thought. My bad. So yeah, I think. They have Thon Maker too, which is incredibly important. He'll be playing at least 30 minutes a game.
I'd also add in there. Joe Ingles is a pretty decent Simmons defender, I would say, in this series, and so they at least have someone who can kind of match up with him. Hopefully, hold him at bay a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, you're gonna have to. I feel like you're gonna have to throw a bunch of different guys at Simmons because he's just like. I mean, in terms of on stream, he's just insane. Like, or just in 2K in general, I'd say Ben Simmons is another beast.
So let me ask you guys: if you're gonna put Joe Ingles on Simmons, what do you do then with CJ McCollum and Lillard?
One can go to the bench, and the other can guard the other guard. Who you've been playing, Devontae Graham or I think you still have White, right?
We have many options.
Okay,
Damn,
that's
too many players. The problem.
You got a lot.
I hope OG Anunoby decides to force his way out and happens to love Charlotte because OG, come home, baby. I'm ready.
We have a lot of options.
This team is ridiculous. Like how many? Like they could play like 13 players, like if they wanted to. It's ridiculous.
And we are very much thankful to you, BJ, specifically.
Oh Lord.
It's easy to make a great roster when 4 or 5 teams in the league are your feeder teams.
All right.
I mean, to be fair, we've just won out on a lot of like back end players that we throw into trades. We've won out on a lot of them. Mitchell Robinson for one. Derek White is another one that we threw in. Nemanja Bjelica is another one that we threw in last second. We've just gotten away with a lot of last second throw-ins that turn out pretty well.
I think if you're the Knicks, the game plan, you got to just do what you do better than the Sixers, which is not much, to be fair. But you look at the Sixers, I think our lineup predicated around Ben Simmons, that's going to leave you a little bit of a deficiency as far as perimeter shooting. Yeah, Ingram's a pretty good outside shooter.
Richardson's a pretty good shooter too.
Good outside shooter. Richardson, he's okay. I just looked it up. He's only a 77.
They have Joe Harris to come off the bench. Probably.
This is true, but I think if
Joe Harris sits in a suit, bro.
He might be.
Joe Harris wants out. Joe Harris wants out, guys.
I think if you're the Knicks, you obviously have a bit of a size disadvantage, but you got to use that to your advantage. You got to get a lot of transition buckets. You got to spread the Sixers out. Okay, they have Mitchell Robinson in the middle anyways. You're not going to get a lot of buckets at the rim. So I think you just have Lillard, and you have Harris, and you have McCollum, and you have basically anybody, even Thon Maker, just whoever is able to be a capable three-point shooter. You kind of make a lot of looks for those guys and just try and get more three-point baskets and match twos with threes.
All right, I'm going to take the last 30 seconds for myself. We're going to freaking dominate this team. Like, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad.
Oh boy.
I don't see how the Knicks can possibly stop us from scoring 80 points in the paint every night, which is the way.
I thought you were about to say 80 points. I was like, whoa.
No, I meant
It's a bold prediction.
I said 80 points in the paint every night. I don't see how they can stop us because that's the way we play our basketball. We're fine if we make only 5 threes. We are completely fine with that. We don't care. We will just smash you in the mouth and just constantly dunk the ball. That's the way we play basketball, even though we have a whole team of shooters outside of Ben Simmons. Everyone else can shoot the 3-point, but they just refuse to take the shot for some reason. All right.
Well, a wise man once said, K-Man, 3 is worth more than 2.
Please tell that. Please tell that to everyone on my team. Because no one takes the open shot. No one does. I don't know what's wrong with them. All right, 1 minute.
Well, maybe that's an issue you have to worry
Can we
about.
hear from Ball for a quick
Yeah,
second?
just real quick.
Oh yeah, I didn't realize Ball didn't speak. Come on, you got 6 minutes on the clock.
No, I was working too. Yeah, I think we have the ability to win. Realistically, are we going to win? Probably not. Sixers are really deep. Our front court is not as good as theirs, but I think we have a few players that can go off a few games, and if they get hot, we might probably going to steal a game or two. And you never know from there.
You sound so sad saying that.
I'm gonna increase the time. I'm gonna increase the timers.
I'm looking at what I have to finish up on. I have to do so much shit. Fuck.
I'm gonna increase the timers a little bit. So we're gonna get 7 minutes for each series and a minute and 90 seconds for predictions. All right, go for it.
I've got Philly in 6. I could see him winning in 5 as well. And I just went 6 because I want to see a longer series, to be honest. I think it'll be a fun series regardless. Watching Lillard and CJ going up against the 80-man roster of Philly should be interesting. And I think there'll be a lot of close games as well. I don't think it'll be blowouts like the Bucks. I think and probably the Cavs, to be honest. But anyways.
I would agree. I'd say Philly in 6, and I think we start to see leaks in the Philly offense as Ben Simmons doesn't get guarded by someone who's 6'3".
I think the vast majority of the games in this series will be close, will be competitive, but I got Philly in 5 actually.
So I got New York in 7, but probably,
Hell yeah, baby.
probably Philly in 6. I don't know. We have a bunch of. You guys would be surprised on. We can throw a bunch of guys at Simmons, and like Johnny said, it's a whole new ball game now that we can actually adjust and do different things rather than just kind of put Lillard or CJ on Simmons. So we'll see.
One guy I think is a big X factor in this series for New York is Rui Hachimura, because he's a guy who has some perimeter skill. He's not a great shooter, but he's a guy who can play on the perimeter. But he's also got the size and the strength to be a pretty solid defender on Ingram or on Simmons. I think he should get extra minutes for the Knicks in this series.
I have Philly in 5 because I don't know, the Knicks just didn't have it during the regular season. And unless Ball somehow figured it out after 82 games, which if he did, I think this series could go 7. I'm going to have to pick Philly.
Yeah, I think that this is going to be a wash. I got a lot of bias in this. I think Philadelphia in 4.
Whoa!
But each game will have a comeback by the Knicks. I think the Sixers will have huge leads in each game and then completely lose it in the fourth quarters. So I am saying that each game will end much closer than it was initially. But Philadelphia sweep. All right, add time. But BJ, you want to go for it?
You want me to advertise? Okay.
I don't have an ad ready.
Okay. We got it. All right. Monday, April 20th, between 3 and 6 p.m., watch the Sixers and the Knicks. We'll have the Hornets guys, that one guy, and Johnny commentating on the game. We do not currently have a mid-game interview lined up, but maybe K-Man wants to do that, or Ball, one of them. So, yeah, on to the Western Conference. So if you guys want to log off right now, you don't need to listen.
Yeah, we don't need to do it. We don't need to do it. Just screw the Western Conference. All right, let's get it over with. Let's go with this. Let's start off at the very tippy top. sliding in at the last second, the Oklahoma City Thunder snagging the first seed, only to see their old friends, the Sacramento Kings, the rematch of last year. I know this is something that I'm really excited for in the Western Conference, is how many rematches we have. Or just in general, or this one only. Actually, never mind. All right, Thunder versus Kings. Go for it. Timer starts now.
Yeah, I'll start off here. This is an interesting series because Jokic is OKC, in my opinion. I think if he's not going, it's very difficult because I don't think Ja's at the point right now where he can drop 30 a game for you. And so Nurkic, I think, will put up a really good fight, in my opinion. And so I do still think OKC probably is going to win this, but it'll be interesting to watch how Jokic does against this Sacramento team.
Yeah, I think Sacramento is one of the few teams that actually can compete with AC's height. They have Nurkic and fucking what's his name that they picked up?
But that's about it.
Holmes.
Yeah.
Throw out Jokic. So
They've got a lot of lengthy guys.
yeah, and so it's going to be interesting to see if they can control Jokic at least somewhat, and then the other guys kind of take over.
Well, personally, I think, and I don't know what kind of world we're living in where this is possible, but I think people are sleeping on the 1 seed in the West, the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think, obviously, Jokic is probably the best. I don't think it's a stretch to say he's been the best player in the entire Western Conference this season. And you just combine him with a very, very, very balanced. I mean, there's not a second superstar necessarily. You could make the argument for John Morant, but it's just a very balanced 8, 9, 10-man rotation around Jokic. And I think this. I'm not even saying I like them to win the whole Western Conference, but I would be surprised if they didn't make the conference finals, and honestly very surprised if this was even a competitive series for the Kings.
I think one of the first commenters basically said what my point idea is for what the Oklahoma City Thunder have to do for this is Jokic. That's it. End of discussion right there. He needs to be the guy going out there. It's even more so than Miami Heat's reliance on James Harden to go out there and go crazy, because I think for Jokic, he's going to be the one that's really going to find points also for the other players on this team. A lot of them are really only one that's a guy who creates for himself apart from, oh my God, who is breathing so loud? Goran Dragic, I mean, can look for his own shot. I guess Lou Williams, I don't really see him to be as great of a player in 2K versus his NBA play. John Morant, maybe. I don't know how his badges are in the game. I don't know how his tendencies are, how his overalls change. Obviously, the overall has gone way up from the beginning of the season, but I think it really is reliant on Nikola Jokic. And if the Kings can find a way to at least control him somewhat, especially in terms of the passing play and on the boards, if they can control him, they actually have a chance here. I'm not sure how big of a chance it really is, but if they can find a way to restrict Jokic, they have a chance of making this interesting.
I just think when you talk about the Thunder's size advantage, I don't think it just starts and ends with Jokic. You also have Montrezl Harrell. If I'm not mistaken, he's like an 84, maybe an 85 overall. You have Jonathan Isaac, who's a very capable big
Harrell
forward.
is like 6'7", though.
That's true, but he's still a power forward, and it's like,
True.
I don't really see Rudy Gay. Rudy Gay, yeah, I know he plays power forward these days, but I feel like he's more of a prototypical big, small forward. I don't really see you throwing Jokic out there and Harrell out there both, and the Kings really being able to counter that inside, because you have I think as far as the rotation goes, you have Nurkic, you have Rashawn Holmes, but I would imagine they don't get played together very often because that's pretty much it as far as guys who can play the 5 for the King.
They had Ed Davis.
Does he even play?
He has not been playing, I don't think.
They have him.
They do have him, though.
He
That
can
is
block,
accurate. That's an accurate statement.
he can block a shot, as far as I know.
73 overall, Ed Davis.
Davis to win you games.
Oh, 73. Okay, never mind.
I think Nurkic can handle Jokic because we saw it it wasn't against Jokic, but Nurkic dominates on streams for the Kings. And if you remember earlier this year, the Kings, they may have ended up losing to the Thunder on stream by 40. But before that happened, if you remember, that game was streamed and the Kings were up in the fourth quarter before some little funny business happened.
I like the accusations here. I gotta ask now, how big do you think that Michael Porter Jr. could play a big part in this series?
Yes.
Great analysis.
Maybe. Let me do a quick little look up right here.
Well, while he does that, I think that the Kings. I haven't even spoken yet. That's funny. I think that the Kings can actually make this really competitive. I think the Kings have a real chance in this series. We saw what they can do on stream last year. Even though they don't have maybe the biggest names on their roster, they play as a team, and they're regardless if Andrew Wiggins is one of their superstars, like someone said earlier, it works for them. And Andrew Wiggins is a very good scorer, and I think Michael Porter Jr. can play a big role in their success. I think he did last year when he hadn't even played a game in the NBA. So they can do it again. Why not?
Yeah, it seems to look like Michael Porter Jr. has some really good offensive stats. So I think if you're the Kings, you're hoping for at least 15 to 20 points from him each game. It'll be difficult, though, if he's starting at power forward. Even if he's not starting at power forward, I'd almost bet that Isaac gets put on Michael Porter, and that'll be a tough matchup for him to get through.
Just one final question: does Landry Shamet get any play on the Kings?
Yes,
He does. Shocker.
Who starts at the 2 for?
I want to say it's Nunn, Wiggins.
Is
It's Wiggins at the 2,
guard.
I think. What was it?
Nunn, Wiggins, Gay, Porter Jr., and Nurkic.
Yeah, or they start hard at the 3 sometimes. But I think that's what it is.
Oh my.
Yeah, the one weak spot for Oklahoma City, I think, is the 2 guard, because I mean they play Dragic there and Eric Gordon. Yeah, so
I wonder
kinda
if Kyle will put Isaac on Wiggins or Porter right there.
So arguably, this is the one matchup that the Kings would be able to get away with their lack of depth at the quote-unquote big wing position.
Yeah, because OKC's main strength is center. I mean, I think Ja's a good player. I just don't know how well his tendencies and stuff are suited to help give Jokic like 20 to 25 a night. I just don't know if he's able to do that right now. And so
his badges are broken. He's pretty good.
Yeah. OKC doesn't really have much size at that 2/3 position. Most of their they have really followed it on the whole small ball idea mentality in those 2 positions. All right, prediction time. We're getting close to the timer. Sound off, boys.
I think this is OKC in 5.
I'm gonna go Sacramento in 6 again.
Wow.
I also have Sacramento in 6.
Jeez.
Well, I'm saying enough with all this OKC disrespect. I kid monotone. I'm going on record saying this will not be a competitive series. This is going to be closer to a 4-game sweep for the Thunder than any kind of Kings victory. So I'll spot the Kings a game. You never know what might happen. I don't really like to predict a full sweep, but we'll go Thunder in 5 games.
I have the Thunder in 6 games. Yeah, I think the Kings will have some word. They'll talk a little bit. They'll talk a little smack. They'll do their stuff. But I think at the end of the day, Jokic will strut his stuff and take care of business.
I'm gonna have to go with Kings in 6.
Ooh.
We got a 3-3 split here then.
All right. So who among us was doing this? Was
OKC in 6.
Oh my God! Damn it.
Oh, another one dropped. 4163.
4163 with the coming in with the prediction to make it 4-3.
Numbers dude from Boston.
Lance, you want to chime in?
Nah, Lance is a little slut. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to the 4-5 matchup in the Western Conference. This is an exciting matchup, I think. Lakers versus Nuggets. All right, timer is about to start. Let's go. 7 minutes are on the clock.
Well, I don't really believe in the Lakers so much. I really like the roster on paper. It's Kawhi and a couple of superstars who are pretty versatile and can score in just about every way you want. As far as Beal and Porzingis, not a lot of depth as well as Bogdanovich and a bunch of guys I'm forgetting right now. Alonzo Ball,
George Hill,
Jared Allen.
Jared Allen, who I like a lot. I just feel like whenever they play on a stream or whenever they play against another title contender, I would say, they just don't really seem to have it. And they go through losing.
Haven't the Lakers been crushing every team that they've played on stream lately?
Is that the
they beat
case?
Golden State like twice.
Have you been watching?
Maybe not, but even still, they just seem inconsistent. They've had losing streak. I feel like they have a losing streak every couple of weeks, so multiple games.
Kid's just pulling stuff out of his ass right now.
Aren't we all?
Well, I guess we'll see, because I like the Nuggets in this one, actually. I think Embiid, maybe not the player that they expected him to be when they traded Ingram for him, but just still, Embiid, Walker, and a lot of guys who can shoot and do a lot of things in support of those two. I like the Nuggets in this one.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I don't think the Nuggets have enough depth compared to the Lakers, and then the Lakers, their superstars are just, I think they're better than Denver, and then I think the Lakers, Cheppy's built a really balanced team because he's got a point guard that can just focus on passing. He's got good shooters at the 2 and 4 surrounding around Kawhi, and then Jared Allen can just rebound. So I think he's built a really balanced team. And then Bogdanovich, I think, is going to be a huge pickup for them coming off the bench. I think Philly kind of handed them 2 pieces that make them really scary.
Yeah, I'll just chime in here on. I do kind of think the Lakers are the better team here. I'll just chime in from having Kimba for a whole year and kind of doing streams with him and stuff. I don't think Kimba's a consistent enough scorer in a 7-game type series to really support what Denver needs from him. He's really shaky because of his height. I mean, it's like not the stats or anything. It's just straight off height. And with Porzingis and Jared Allen down low, I think it'll be really difficult for Kimba to score this series, along with like Kawhi and the fact that Lonzo is 6'5" and he's guarding him all game.
Yeah, that's gonna be one thing to look into is that Lakers actually have a very tall lineup. I mean, George Hill is arguably their shortest player at 6'3" in terms of the main players that will play.
I just want to try. I think so Nuggets have one of those ugly lineups. they play 5 bigs in their rotation, and I don't know. It's actually been working.
What's wrong with that?
The Jazz did it. Hey. But I think the Lakers are just too good. I don't think anyone's mentioned Porzingis either. I think he's gonna go. He's gonna score a lot in the series.
I can attest that Embiid has absolutely no knowledge of how to defend Porzingis. Every game that I've seen him play against Porzingis over these last 2 years have been a shit show for Embiid specifically on the defensive end. We win sometimes against Porzingis, but he has always dominated Joel Embiid in stream. I think the Nuggets are really screwed here. They have a good team. They do have a good team. They've got the size. They have some depth. They have scores. They have everything you could possibly want. But the Clippers, I think I'm actually the exact opposite of Kid on this situation. I'm right with Ball. The Lakers just have a fucking dominant team in stream, man. They just. Whew. Beal can go off for 20 any day of the week, go off for 30 any day of the week. Kawhi will get you 20, 30 points. Porzingis will dominate Embiid on the offensive end. Embiid will get his rebounds, will get his blocks, will defend the paint. But on the offensive end, I just don't see how the Lakers can be stopped from getting their main three 20 to 30 points each every game. I think that it's going to be really about whether or not the Denver Nuggets can put up the same numbers and try and restrict the Lakers below 120 points. Because if they get if the Lakers can play defensively well, if Jarrett Allen can really go up against Joel Embiid and defend him well, try and control him, keep him off the offensive glass. If Bogdanovich can have his games as well, being the X factor, I think Lakers can really dominate the series. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll follow up right there. I kind of get what K-Man's saying with Embiid because we play the Nuggets on stream, and to me, with just Adams, who is like not really a great offensive player or anything, Adams was really able to dominate the offensive boards and then get a lot of putbacks on Embiid. In the one game we played with Denver this year that I can remember where Adams kind of went off. And so I don't know how well Embiid's going to do against Jared Allen and Porzingis. And so it'll be interesting to watch how that turns out.
Holy shit, I just realized that the Nuggets have both Embiid and Vucevic. What the fuck?
Yeah, they play. They start Vucevic and Embiid, and then they have Hurdle, Saric, and Favors off.
Favors. Yeah.
I'm not. I don't really see how that works in the playoffs.
I can't speak much considering I play Millsap at the 3, but
Hey, we got a young
Lowry at
Jay
shooting
Knapp
guard,
over here.
anyone?
I'm
Guys, remember when
about to mute you, BJ.
The original NBN meme.
All right, prediction time. You got 90 seconds on the clock. Sound off. What are your predictions?
I have Lakers in 6.
I got the Lakers in 5.
Ooh.
Lakers in 6, not enough depth.
I can't explain it. I can't quantify it, but I like the Nuggets. It'll be a good test for Jared Allen. It'll be a good test for Lonzo Ball. I don't know if they're up for it though. I think I'm gonna take the Nuggets in 7.
Isn't part of your name? Isn't part of your name "Fuck the Nuggets"?
I got Lakers in 5.
Real. What can I say?
Lakers in 5. Kawhi's gonna average 35 points.
Lakers in 6. All good? All predictions made? All right. We're on to the next matchup now. The 3 versus 6. Or 2 versus 7 actually. No, that's the next. Or yeah, 3 versus 6. That's the next up. Sorry. Pelicans versus the Timberwolves. Sound off. The timer starts now.
All right. I actually think in the West, in my opinion, this has the biggest upset potential. And
Ooh.
it's mostly just based on the fact that I feel like New Orleans has somewhat underperformed this year. And I think the duo of Towns and Siakam could give this Pelicans team a real run for their money, along with the fact that Dorian Finney-Smith is a really good wing defender who they can throw on PG for, 35, 36 minutes a game. And then Tim Hardaway Jr., Rodney Hood, I don't know who they play at the two. And then you got Reggie Jackson there. I think those are some good pieces to help out with this scoring load. A lot of things have to happen right for this upset to work, but I think they've got some decent depth on this roster, and New Orleans is relying a lot, like a ton, on the fact that PG and AD have like really good games and don't miss a beat. So I could see Minnesota taking this upset.
Yeah, I don't. For some reason, I thought the Pelicans had more depth than they do. I feel like the roster's missing something just for me looking at it. But
they have a lot of big depth, but not much like wing and guard depth.
Yeah, but then again, Minnesota lacks a lot in guard depth as well. So
yeah,
and they're starting Reggie Jackson and Tim Hardaway Jr. maybe, or Rodney Hood. So they have stream god Damian Dotson. But other than that, I don't see a ton on Minnesota that can threaten New Orleans. I think New Orleans stars are just better, and I just don't see any way that Minnesota. I mean, I think it'll be an interesting series, but I don't think Minnesota has a real shot at beating them. Just because I don't see any matchups that are favorable for them.
If I'm not mistaken, this is a Minnesota team that was comfortably ahead of the Kings, who were comfortably ahead of Utah at about the midway point of the season. And now you look at them, they were a game away from missing the playoffs compared to the Jazz. So I don't think the second half Timberwolves have been impressive. I think this has been maybe the most impressive of the 16 playoff teams in the second half of the season. I like the model for the Timberwolves. You got their two all-star caliber players inside, and then a lot of guys who can shoot just kind of surrounding them on the perimeter. But I think there's just too much talent in the Pelicans to keep up.
I really like this Wolves roster. We saw them take the Warriors to 7 last year. And
7.
I don't think
I don't
that,
know if it was 7.
It was
7.
It was 7. Yeah, it was 7.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
7.
Now it might have been due to Prim's age-old excuse of I was just messing around, but who knows?
Yeah.
He would do that a lot.
But I just don't think the Wolves have anyone that can guard Paul George. I think he's just going to torch them every game. And I think AD can do enough inside against Towns and or Siakam. And the Pelicans are going to squeak it out.
I do think that the Wolves can have some talk with this Pelican squad. Pelicans, the star pieces match up complement each other too well, though. I think that is something that really is an issue for the Pelicans, or for the Timberwolves. Just how well that Paul George, Davis, Drew Holiday, that three is just perfect together. Now, yeah, someone else did mention that the depth is not really there. I mean, yes, you do have a couple of players in Satoransky, Paschal, Baines, I guess, Grant, Dwayne Dedmon. I mean, these are all players that can maybe throw in a little bit of work. They really should be your 8th and 9th man. They don't really have that true 6th man, or even in their starting lineup, they don't really have that 4th option to score that can really be reliable in a game. It's really looking stretched if those front three don't put out big points. For the Timberwolves side, though, I think that they have something to work with. Towns will go off. He'll have his days, but they do, I think, have more options for players that can just go off and get you 15 to 20 points. I saw it in the stream against me. They made a comeback from 20 plus down, even when Reggie Jackson was fouled out. They were able to get their outside shots. They have a lot of players. I want to ask you guys for this. How do you think Pascal Siakam will step up in this playoffs? Do you think he'll be able to step up, or do you think that the issues, his lack of tendencies, lack of badges, will continue to negatively affect him as it has so far throughout the regular season so far?
Yeah, I don't think Siakam's that good on stream yet. He'll probably be next year, but as of right now, I don't think he's that good. And I agree with Killer that Minnesota doesn't have an answer for PG, and he's just gonna cook him every single game.
You don't believe in Otto Porter Jr.?
No. And then the Pelicans they're pretty tall too, because they start Satoransky, they put PG I think at the 2, and then Grant starts at the 3, so they're pretty lengthy.
Drew Holiday doesn't start?
No,
Holiday's been coming off the bench.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Imagine paying $18 million.
I think it's a good balance because they always have 2 of the 3. They always have either 2 of the 3 of their big stars on the floor at all times. So I don't know. I don't think Minnesota's that good, especially after I watched them today.
The Drew Holiday thing, that could be possibly because they are unable to stagger the lineups in the regular season. Now that's another thing that can look forward to the playoffs, is that you can actually properly stagger lineups. All right. Prediction time. Sorry, boys. 90 seconds are on the clock. Get your word in, get your prediction in. Final words. Keep it to 1 sentence. Go.
All right, you kept to like 5 sentences, but sure. I've got Pelicans in 6.
I have Wolves in 7.
Ooh.
Could be some tight games, but I'm taking the Pelicans in 6.
I got the Pelicans in 6 too.
I got the Pelicans in 7.
I got the Pelicans in 7 as well. I think it's gonna be gonna be a couple of tight games, but yeah. That it? All right.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on now to the final series of the first round. The Golden State Warriors versus the Dallas Mavericks. 7 minutes are on the clock.
Wow.
Start it up. Let's go.
Do we need 7 minutes for this?
I think Dallas should start thinking about next year.
Kid, how about you talk about why you hate the Mavericks?
Why I hate the Mavericks? Well, let me tell you a little bit of the background of the Mavericks. First of all, I think, as we all are aware, Guy Fawkes is a scumbag. He's a horrible human being. I
mean,
think
he
that
just
he's
won
never
Best
been
Friend
anything
award.
but hostile. I remember when I first joined this league, he was in my DMs immediately, having nothing but negative things to say. He's a poor trade partner. We played 2K once, and he barely passed me the ball. And I could go on, but 7 minutes, I might get carried away.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about the series. I want to hear more about this.
But I mean, at the end of the day, I think at the end of the day, all championship caliber teams and all championship caliber players just have to have that foil. You know, it's like in the WWE. You know, the great wrestler always has his foil, always has a heel, and I think as the Pacers are on the come up, about to eventually take a force. I think
Somehow he made this into a
that
Pacers
start
game.
developing that strong rivalry